specifically, I got interested in policy research over the last few years, so everything I do is evaluating policies that are directed at childhood obesity. Typically, it's policies that are school-based, so things like regulating what foods and beverages can be sold in schools, or setting nutrition standards for school meals, or requiring that students have a minimum amount of physical education, and seeing if these actually reduce childhood obesity. The work I do is very rewarding because it's so policy focused. I've actually had, it's nice to have studies that are published, cited by other scientists, but I've also had policymakers, I've had just random mothers email me and say, I think it's really great what you do, I think this is so important. So that's really rewarding. And the first policy evaluation study that I did, it was actually when I was a graduate student as part of my dissertation. We were looking at whether policies related to junk food in schools, if they reduced students' weight status and also disparities in weight status. And the study was actually cited by the USDA in their initial proposal for federal regulations of foods and beverages that are sold in schools. So it's really rewarding when you see that your work is actually being cited on the federal level. Is that most of what I've done in the past has been school-based, but I'm trying to get outside schools more and look at how factors in neighborhoods and also economic factors, how they influence whether school policies work. Because you can make all the changes you want in schools, but if there's a 7-Eleven or a McDonald's or some fast food outlet across the street, it may not make as much of a difference. It could also be looking at, for instance, whether states tax soda or not. If you ban soda in schools, but you don't tax soda outside of schools, do you see less of an impact? So it's looking at factors like that. I'm also very interested in how policies affect disparities, particularly racial disparities, because we don't really know at this point if we've seen that policies are effective overall, but we don't know if they make disparities better or worse. So it's looking at whether these policies have had a positive or negative impact on disparities in childhood obesity. Just don't underestimate the impact that you can have as a student. Don't underestimate the impact your work can have, and also don't be afraid to take risks.